Alright guys, welcome to part 4 of the 650 go-kart shifter cart build. This thing has been a project so far. Last video we got the camshafts all aligned. Those should be pretty good. And then the timing's a little bit off, but we're gonna get the timing correct pretty soon. I'm thinking that it needs to be re-shimmed, and that's why, it's just locking up when you spin it over. What happens when a motor needs to be re-shimmed is that the valves push up into the head, and so the valve actually becomes longer and it pushes these up. You'd think that the shim would, wear down, but that's not what happens. The shim stays strong because it's hardened metal, but the actual valve gets longer and gets pushed up higher. So therefore, when the camshaft spins, these push down and they hit a little bit closer because the valves are sticking up higher. So that's kind of what happens. But we're gonna move on from this. I'm going to check the clearances of the shims here pretty soon. There's a system to do it, and I downloaded the manual, so I'll check those later today. But we're going to move on to the carburetors. We've got a set of 4 carburetors right here. Looks like a lot of fun. I hate dealing with 4 carburetors. It's just a pain in the butt. But we gotta clean these up today, and it just looks like it's gonna be a lot of work. Ooh, look at the gas in there. That's not good. Looks like some ethanol crappy gas in there. So that's gonna be a big project for today, is cleaning up the carburetors. Then what we also wanna do is unstick the clutch, throttle, and brake levers. You can see, I believe this is the clutch right here, brake and throttle. They're all locked up. We did get the shifter unstuck, so that's good. You can see it moving in there, and as you guys know, this spins over by hand now. So you can see it spins now by hand. We got the pistons all cleaned up and the cylinders are almost perfect. So we should be good to go there. But let's start with the carburetors. Let's get those going in the ultrasonic cleaner. And let's try to work our way piece by piece. Also, if we can get to it today, I'd like to check for spark. That's another huge step in the process of rebuilding this thing. So we could potentially be doing that too. All right, we're gonna start with the left carburetor. I already took out the 2 screws that hold it in to place right here. And then I took out the little choke mechanism. And then I unscrewed 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and then this pulls out. A little bolt right here that you have to twist off. 8 mil. Got the carburetor out. Look how bad that is. Alright guys, we got all the carburetor pieces laid out. We're doing 1 carburetor at a time so we don't get it all messed up. There's a bunch of different parts for this carburetor. As you can see, we've got all the parts in the ultrasonic cleaner. Sitting in there for like 15 minutes. That should be enough time. And then we'll come back and do the other 3 carburetors, 1, 2, 3. Alright, while we're waiting on the ultrasonic cleaner to get done, we're going to start on the clutch. It's pretty stuck in there, so we're going to try to loosen that up a bit. cable somewhat off of there now. Now we're gonna put some lube down the cable. All right, it's getting better. You can see it. All right, check this out. Moves freely now, really easily. So clutch cable is now fixed. Little chain lube down the cable did the trick. Good as new. So now we can move on to either the brake or the throttle. I think we're gonna do the throttle cable first, just because that's more important. And that one should be fun. That's pretty stuck. So the throttle pedal's a little different on here. You can see that there's actually a grease fitting right here. So I'm wondering if it's stuck because it's rusted throughout this whole tube right here. So these are both stuck. So I'm thinking that might be it. But you can see the line goes all the way up here to a cable right here, which is not stuck. So that cable isn't stuck. It's the whole rod that's stuck. So we're gonna lube up that area right here, and then we're gonna shoot some grease down there and see if that works. Get a little chain lube here, straight over here. So there's actually a grease fitting back in that little area as well. So we'll get the grease gun out, see if that works. Looks like the fitting was kind of plugged up. So we're gonna take a rubber mallet and go hit it up, I think. This throttle has to be perfect, because if it gets stuck, there's no way of bailing on this thing. So it looks like the spring is pulling it back now. Let's go check out the back area over here. That's the throttle cable right there. Another area where there's a grease fitting is right there at the steering. So we're gonna hit that quick. Alright, we should be good there. Let's see if the steering's a little bit better with that grease in there. Alright, it's a little bit better. Still a little bit stiff, but we can deal with that for right now. It might loosen up when you're actually riding it. We're going to work on the brake now, see if we can loosen that up. And then we're going to go check on the carburetors. Alright, so we got the brake loose here. You can see. So that's all good to go. I'm not sure if the brake is working right now. I don't think it is. So we're probably going to have to bleed this. But this is full. So at one point it was working. But I don't know if it is now. You can see all the crap coming up through it. So it might be pumping, but we'll have to figure out the brake after we get this thing started. Alright, so the engine spins over, which is good. So now we can actually test for spark. So we're going to try to hook up the coils and then clean out the points. As you guys know, this motor uses points, so those need to be completely spotless for spark to occur. And then over here, the stator is all rusty, so we're going to clean out those connections. And then over on the flywheel, you can see the inside is a little bit rusty, so we're going to clean that out as well. And then we're going to check for spark. So I'll put it into gear and I'll show you guys how this thing turns over right now. Alright, so watch the camshaft, and I push it. You can see everything moves freely in there. But right now, let's clean up the stator, flywheel, and the points. Alright, let's clean up the flywheel here. You can see how rusty it is in there. We're just going to be using the exit out. Spray that in there and then wipe it out. You can see all the rust that came off of it already. All right, I'd say that's pretty clean in there. Let's do the stator here. So we can move on to the points. The points on these bikes are always bad if you let them sit for a long time. So what I usually do is I take a screwdriver, open this guy up like that, and then you take a business card and you go through them. Or you could take like 2000 grit sandpaper, which we might have to do here because there's a ton of rust in there. And then just take some WD-40 and some sandpaper and just lightly get rid of that surface rust on there. But I don't know if you guys can see, but let me try to zoom in so you guys can see the rust down there. Let's see. You can see the rust built up in there. And then on this one. So every time you crank over the engine, these open up and spark. And then they rotate. So this one will open up. So this one's for 1 and 4 cylinder, and this one's for 2 and 3. It says right there. So let's clean those up.
See you later, huh? Love you too. Thanks very much.
Well, again, got it. Why don't you come tomorrow night for dinner?
No, thanks.
I'll make you something yummy. It's like a beauty center. Did you have to take one down?
Alright, so we've got the stator cover on. We're gonna have to bolt that up. And then we've got the coils right here. This one's for 1 and 4. So this one goes to the way outside piston over here. And then number 4. And then this one is for the other 2, 2 and 3. So we're gonna kind of just hook those up loosely on the frame. I've got the wiring sitting over here, which is gonna be, so we're gonna have to try to figure that out as well. And we'll get that all bolted up and ready to go. But that's the next step. Stay tuned. And then we've got the carburetors in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'll quick show you guys what that's looking like. So this is actually looking pretty good. That's what that's looking like. Carburetor's turning out pretty good. Got a little bit of paint in here, but other than that, it's really not that bad. Inside, and then we've got the bowl. You can see, looking really good. So this one's basically done. Put this one together and start on the next one. So this is a long process, but it should be worth it in the end. I saw a set go on eBay for 200 bucks. So it's good to have these done. Ultrasonic cleaning really helps a lot. You can just put it in the machine, let it sit, and they turn out basically brand new. So I will leave a link to the ultrasonic cleaner in the comments and the description of the video. Listen here for a little bit longer. We'll put that in a little bit longer and then come back and do the next carburetor. Alright, time to reassemble the carburetors. Get everything cleaned up here. That's how the carburetors turned out. Looking pretty good. All the jets are cleaned out. And then that's what it looks like compared to these carburetors. You can see it took off all the black paint, which was good. And made it look really good. So let's start reassembling these. We need one of these as well. This goes on the top. Good to go.